Yo, welcome back to the No Budget Podcast. It's Coughlin. And yeah, man, shoot. Finals are finally here, man. And boy, oh boy, do we got a special one for you guys. It's been a long time coming. We took these last few days just to process what's going on. Think about like how the series might go, and yeah, we'll just dive into it. And so, Kai, let us know.
Yeah. I feel like it's only right, right before we get into really the matchups and
Mhm.
predictions, we really wrap up the Mavericks series. So Mavericks wound up beating the Timberwolves in a gentleman's sweep, 4-1. I mean, when you talk about a dominant win, right? When you talk about putting your team away, that's what the Dallas Mavericks did. That's what they shown, right? You're talking about a
Mhm.
game that was 69-40 going into halftime, right? Like you're talking about a team that at one point was up by more than 30. Like the Timberwolves kind of made it a little bit closer on the stat sheet at the end of the game, but it really wasn't much that they can do, and a lot of that is just because of my man, when Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are playing on this level, it's very hard to make an argument against them being the best backcourt in the league. You know what I mean? You talk about two guys that can score from anywhere, score at any time, and they do their best work in the clutch. You know what I mean? Like there's no defense for Kyrie Irving, right? There's no defense for Luka Doncic. If those guys show up, this is a very very hard team to beat, right? And that's with Cat and Anthony Edwards showing up in this game, right? Both having 28 respectively, but it's really about the others. Like nobody else on this team was in double digits, right? And that's the whole team aspect of it all. It doesn't matter how great your team your stars are playing, or do we have moments in NBA history where we get a crazy carry job? Absolutely, but it's not sustainable, right? And it is kind of crazy, right? When you go down the stats, like the game log stats, right? I mean, Dallas only made 8 more shots in the entire game, only 8 more shots, same amount of free throws, 4 more rebounds, actually less offensive rebounds, right? 2 more assists, 1 more turnover, and 2 more points in the paint. Like this, it's kind of crazy. Like the stats do not support what we saw that night, right? The stats would suggest that this was a very close game, and that it was not, right? Like it was clear that the Dallas Mavericks were the better team. The better team won, and they handled business. And this is kind of, and we'll definitely, really speak on the Timberwolves in terms of, what comes next for them and et cetera. But this all harkens back to, a conversation we had, during the regular season, right? Where the Timberwolves' biggest Achilles heel was their offense. And they ran into a team that not only can outshoot them, but can also play just as good a defense, right? In the Dallas Mavericks. That's kind of Jason Kidd's stamp, right? Pretty much everywhere he goes, the team at least plays good defense. And, you build a team that can play defense, and at the nucleus of that have, not only Luka Doncic, but have Luka Doncic buy in on the defensive end. This is a very, very scary team.
Yeah, man. Like, what can I say? Uh, you know, Luka motherfucking Doncic, man. Like you said, starting off the first quarter, he took over the game. I don't know what fan was chirping at him early in the game, pre-game, during the game, early first quarter, but he took it, and he spit it right back out, right at him, right? And honestly, that's one of these players where, like, you just don't, as fans and as a player on the opposing team, you just gotta shut your mouth before he will, greatness will come. Greatness will come. It's only the few players that can take trash talk, but also talk trash while giving you that work,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's very few that can actually do it, right? And Luka is definitely one of them. Talking about, I think he outscored the whole Timberwolves in the first quarter. He had 20 points in the first quarter to the Timberwolves 19, and yeah, it was just a masterpiece. It was a masterpiece, right? I'm pretty sure he started off the game with like I think he had like 5 or 7 from three or something like that, something crazy, right? And then Kyrie, I couldn't ask anything more of him. Luka had his first quarter. Luka took a little bit of rest, and Kyrie said, "I got it. Second quarter, let me get that." Right, and look at the whole total of the night. They both had 36 each, right? And when you have a dominant backcourt like that, it's just going to be really hard to beat a team that has both their star players rolling, right? And not only just the star players, and this is a key thing about the whole playoffs. The role players show up. Role players do matter, and they do play a factor, and if you win a series or not. And my rookie Derek Lively, man. Shout out to him. I think he went 16 of 16 from the field goals, right? I think Kai he talked about like the lob numbers for the Mavs, where like it seems like we get like lobs every single time, right? And funny enough, I have the stat here, and it's the Mavs have 54 lobs, and the next closest is 9, and that's by the Thunder. Mind you, the Thunder, like we played them like almost a month ago, for essentially, right? Which is insane, right? But here's the thing. Here's another cool stat. If you combine every other team's lobs to the Mavs has 54 and everyone else has 59. That is insane, man. And it goes to show that like not only Luka is able to be a great passer, we've seen Kyrie do it, right? And there's another guy that I want to talk about that hasn't been getting love. And I honestly I haven't been talking about him until I found this out, but Jaden Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Hardy. Ever since I think Tim Hardaway got benched pretty much for the whole rest of the playoffs, at least right as of right now. But Hardy, he's been stepping up. Surprisingly, he's thrown more lobs than Kyrie and Luka in this playoffs, which is kind of insane. And funny enough, and back to our rookie Derek Lively, he had the most. He out of those 54, 53 alley oops, he had 22 of them. That's almost half. Right, so it goes to show that this rookie is playing beyond expectations right now. Right, honestly, I didn't have that high expectation. I just thought that as long as he can rebound the ball and provide a defensive presence, he'd be good. But he's doing more than that, right? And Gafford playing his part, PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., all the bunch, right? And I just see that this team, they have, like I said, they have this bond and this just like, I don't know, this synergy about themselves where it's like no matter how much they're down, no matter how much they're up, they're going for the kill. It doesn't matter. They have that mentality to not step off the gas pedal at all, right? And that's one thing about the playoffs, and that we'll get into when you talk about the Celtics versus the Mavs. But the Mavs has in all their series that they played leading up to the finals, they are probably the only team, and they are the only team as of now to go through every type of situation that a team could possibly go to. Whether it's like crunch time, last 5 minutes of the game, whether it's coming down from behind like double digits from half, while it's playing with a lead, or whether it's playing with a lead, then losing the lead, then gaining it right back. Right? It's just amazing just to see that how much this team has grown from the beginning of the season to now. But yeah, I mean, all that said, I just got to shout out the GM, right? Mm-hmm. The GM, we would not be here right now if he did not make those moves at the trade deadline, right? Getting those two guys, people thought that they were not that good of a trade, but he saw some, right? And so I want to shout out them. But looking for the Timberwolves aspect, at least, I think if you're a Timberwolves fan, even though you were kind of favored to win this series and probably win it all after you beat the Nuggets, I still see it as a success. I feel like just winning against the Nuggets, that's like a successful run itself, right? Knocking off the defending champs, taking them to 7 games,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that's very, very impressive, right? And obviously, this team, the Timberwolves team, is still pretty young, right? Still pretty young. They still got ways to go, and it's gonna be interesting how they move on moving forward. But I just take this as a Timberwolves fan, where it's like, you know what, and is only 22. He's only gonna get better. He's only gonna learn, right? So getting this experience right now to an NBA, to like a Western Conference Final at age 22, it's gonna help him later down the line. Because who knows? He's one of the Timberwolves could be still one of those teams for the future, man. With them, the Thunder, right, and a few other teams, right. So all I'm gonna say is that Timberwolves, don't be too down on yourselves. You guys put up a valiant effort. Like you said, it's not like they didn't try. All these games were pretty close, except for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
All I gotta say at that is that it's funny if I just gotta give you guys a little throwback. Anthony Edwards, he was talking a lot of like a lot. He was talking a lot when he was watching that Mavericks versus Suns game 7. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny how things happen, in game 5 in this year's playoffs, right? Pretty much got the same work, right? But, you know, that's just little things just to, go at the young buck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Listen, man, you got to be careful what you wish for. And like I said, we'll definitely give a full deep dive and real breakdown to the Minnesota Timberwolves season. Really, really break that down, give a good discussion. But I feel like this is what the entire season has been leading up to, right? Since Game 1 of the NBA season, right? Every single team has been scratching and clawing to reach the point that these two teams are at right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks, 2024, NBA Finals, a matchup that you can't really ask for more, right? From an excitement level, from a narrative level, like there's so much that can be done with this finals. I think very similar to if you guys are following us along in the NFL playoff, this is something that we were talking about, right? Where this is where legacies are made. There's a lot
Yep.
of different things that can happen, right? Does Luka win his first ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Kyrie win his second?
Mm-hmm.
Does Jason Tatum finally get the monkey off his back and win a ring, right? So much. And not to mention, right, if the Boston Celtics are able to win this finals, they regain the lead over the Lakers in terms of all time championship. So
Yep.
it's a lot that goes into this. But I feel like just from a matchup standpoint, like this is so many different ways that each team can attack the other. When you talk about the Boston Celtics, where they're probably the best starting five in terms of the defensive end, where
Yeah.
there is no weak link on defense. There is no guy
Mm-hmm.
that you can single out and be like, okay, we're going to attack him because he's an all NBA level defender. Now, on top of how great of team defense they play, how great of situational basketball they play have so far they've shown us. So it'd be very interesting. And if you talk about continuity, like this team has been together mostly, right? Obviously, the additions of Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday this season, but you're talking about most of this roster has really gone through it. A lot of this roster was during that last run. Ultimately came up short, but they were there. Very similar to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, obviously, they didn't. This is the first time reaching the finals, but Luka has been to the Western Conference Finals before. Now, finally getting over that hump. It's so much. You're right. Again, like we talk about Kyrie and Luka, where they're just an unstoppable duo when both of them are at their best. There's nothing you can do. They're gonna hit every single shot. You just got to get back, right? You just got to try to survive the storm that it can put your team through. Um, you talk about you know Coach Joe Mazzulla, Coach Jason Kidd, like both coaches, right? there's been a lot of narratives surrounding Jason Kidd for a very long time, especially as a coach, where if he's able to, grab a championship as a coach, this is a lot of conversations we have to have about that, right? There's a lot of people talking about Joe Mazzulla when he first got hired and the whole thing, and lo and behold, he gets his team back to the finals. It's a lot, right? Making a prediction is very, very hard because again, I can honestly see it going either way. Both of these teams have proven that they can win big games. Both these teams have proven that they deserve to win. Right? Ultimately, only
100%.
one team can. Um, this is difficult, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I didn't even write it down because I literally I kept
Yeah.
going back and forth on who I could see winning. You know what? Instead of giving a prediction on who I think will win, I'll give you a hot take. I don't
Ooh.
know who's going to win, but I don't think this series is going to 7.
Ooh. Okay.
I think whoever wins it in 6.
6. So you think the max it will go is 6?
I think the max it goes to 6.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think just based off of what everything Kai said, it's a lot to break down, right? It's a lot to break down. Like you're honestly kind of splitting hairs here, but I'll be honest. I'll be honest. You know, this Celtics team has been the number one team for a reason, right? This Celtics team has been the most dominant team all season from beginning to end,
Mm-hmm.
including playoffs, right? Like I said from the last pod, we haven't seen nothing. We haven't seen a dominance, especially in the playoffs like this, since like the KD Warriors, right? And obviously, sure, the KD Warriors. That's a different type of breed of a team, right? Especially on the offensive end, right? But this team, from the defensive side of the ball, monsters, just monsters, man. Like you talking about, you have a all defensive the backcourt, right? You have two wing defenders who are also, basically wing defenders in Tatum and Brown, which they're not just average defenders now. They're way above average. They can get it done, right? And then don't forget their center, when especially even if KP is like maybe 60, 70, 80%, right? He's still a great defender,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's still a shot blocker, right? A shot alterer, right? And don't forget about Al Horford. Al Horford is a very sneaky guy to look out for in this series, because I feel like if he's able to get set things done on the defensive side and hit a few threes on the other side, who knows, right? And I've had this thing in my mind where it's like KP is coming back from injury, and even if he is able to be cleared to play, in which I think he is, I just might consider bringing KP off the bench instead. I might consider it, right? Just because Al Horford, he's built this chemistry throughout these playoffs so far. It's like if it's not broken, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? And KP off the bench is scary. KP off the bench is scary, right? And all that to say is like, you look on the Mavs side. Yes, we do have two superstars. We have two very good guards. Not even just very good, the best of the best, pretty much at that, right? Talking about a duo at least. But you know, I'll say this, any of the other guys not named Tatum or um or Brown, they could be our third option. Talking about Derek White, Drew Holiday, KP, Al Horford. They could definitely be a third option, or maybe not Al Horford, but you get the gist. You get the gist
Mm-hmm.
in how much depth they have,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, and so they should be the favorite. They should win this series. I'm not gonna lie. Everything has rolled. For the Celtics these last few years,
Mm-hmm.
nothing matters until they get to the finals and we see their performance. And end to end, they need to win,
Yes.
right? And you talking about a guy with the most to lose, legacy wise, is Jason Tatum, 100%. You've been knocking on the door since your rookie year to get to the finals, Eastern Conference Finals, etc., etc., right? But it's like, when are you gonna win the big one? or do you have the capability to win one? Right? Jason Tatum in this final series, he has the ability to shut up all the haters. Right? He can redefine his legacy right now. Right? And so, Celtics are a very great team. But I must say, the Mavericks will win this series. I love playing the underdog, and we'll greatly to play the underdog again. We've been the underdog for all of our series. First round, second round, Western Conference Finals, and now this time, right? We'll gladly take that underdog role.
Yep.
And I just think, even though the Celtics are just that good, I just think that I ain't ever going to bet on playoff Luka. I ain't going to bet against him, man. Playoff Luka is a different breed, y'all. I don't think you understand. Playoff Luka is a different breed, man. Because it doesn't matter how good or bad he's playing from quarters 1 to 3. You just already know. When it comes to the fourth quarter, he wants it. He wants it, right? And we talking about a superstar who been getting trashed on about his conditioning and his defensive capabilities. He's cleaned all that up in the playoffs thus far, right? And you talking about a guy who's just
played the most minutes.
Mm-hmm. And he has injuries, dog. 5 different injuries. But guess what? He doesn't mention anything about it. Doesn't. Just goes out there and perform, right? And I just think that Luka is gonna have. I think he's gonna go crazy. I think because we have this week rest, because we've seen the last couple games against the Wolves that we see, it was like, that's regular Luka right there. Because these past few playoff series, we haven't seen playoff Luka, right? Because and you've seen the injuries and everything's taking a toll on him, right? But you've seen that over a period of time, he's getting a little bit more healthier, and him getting this rest, and it's kind of similar. I don't want to compare him to that type of player yet, but comparing him to a LeBron in the sense where if you give this guy rest, that's a problem. It's a big problem, right? And so Luka, of that caliber of a player, getting that much rest, knowing that he's nursing his injuries and stuff like that, I think he's poised to have a big for game 1 and a big series, series all around, right? And Kyrie, this could be a full circle moment. And I love getting toxic. I'm from Philly. You know what I'm saying? We're from Philly. We love toxicity. You know what I'm saying? So, him going back to Boston, I know that whole thing about him going to, I think Lucky, or is it whatever, to the, the center of the court, just stepping on it and everything. Shoot. What I wanted to see so bad is a game winner from the logo by Kyrie. Oh, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. But nah, I just think the best player is going to win this series, and that is without a doubt Luka Doncic. Everything else, I don't know how these role players are going to play. I think it's going to be really, really tough. But I got to keep the faith, and I think it's going 7. I know Kai said it's not going 7, but I think it's going 7. But I got Mavs game 7, and how will that game go? I don't know, but we've all seen elimination Luka, so let's not find out.
Yeah. And just to wrap it up, right? When you talk about narratives and storylines, and obviously, there's still a lot of basketball to be played, but the way both Luka and Jason Tatum can really put their names into different stratospheres in terms of potential staking claim at the title of the best player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these are 2 guys that have been knocking at the door for a couple years now. Both very similar in age, both very similar in experience, both very similar in terms of ability, right? It's just one of those things where, again, only one team can win. Only one man can win Finals MVP. And whoever, comes out on top, and everything in between, it's going to be a lot of conversations to be had going into next season.
100%. And this series is going to be probably the best final series that we've seen in a minute, right? I mean, obviously last year's finals, let's be honest, that wasn't really a series, right? Sorry, Miami Heat fans. It wasn't really a series, but yeah, even the Warriors and Celtics one that was a couple years ago. I don't think it compares to this one because this one when we talk about feeding families,
Yeah.
yeah, we feel we feed. They are feeding villages, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, I'm so excited. We're both so excited. I'm sure you guys are excited, right, for this finals matchup, and we'll definitely be dropping more videos, along the way. I
Mm-hmm.
believe there's a game like every 3 days, so we
Yeah.
might even potentially drop a video for every single game, right? It's the NBA
Mm-hmm.
Finals, along with some
Exactly.
other content. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But you guys have been going crazy on our social media. I know I say that every time, but
Blessed.
one of our reels on Instagram recently just surpassed 1,000 views. Right, or
Mm-hmm.
I believe the only other video we have a video on TikTok that amassed that much. Right, so that's
Mm-hmm.
big time for us.
Yeah.
Um, right, we recognize how small our audience is right now, but we also recognize we're building. Right,
Mm-hmm.
we're laying the foundation brick by brick, and you guys are helping us in coming along on that journey. So we definitely appreciate you guys for liking the video, sharing the video, on YouTube, commenting, same thing, liking, sharing, subscribing,
Mm-hmm.
following us on TikTok, following us on Instagram. Really getting our content out there, because without you guys, we can't do that, right? All we can do is make the video. You guys really turn it into what it's becoming. So from the bottom of our hearts, we definitely want to say we appreciate that. We appreciate you guys. And with that being said, man, it's been a no bullshit podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
Sir, peace out.